Greetings, I'm Chevalier, and I bid you welcome to Nature Situation and Guide of Vijayanagar. Vijayanagar is a big nation in India and they have, I think, one of the best situations, basically, and locations to actually push into India and unite the whole Indian subcontinent, if you want to call it, or Indian peninsula, whenever and however you want to call it. Other than this, they have quite a little bit of trench warfare up their way, simply because although their position is quite nice and they are basically backed, they have small nations behind that can actually attack and annex, but at the same time they only have one way forward, which means that it's going to be trench warfare. But still, there are some options that will help you just easily push into your enemies. And also, the political structure in India is quite chaotic, to say the least. There are plenty of allies that you can get and plenty of enemies that you can attack. We'll delve into this in the expansion guide, but still, it's quite difficult to get a handle on your allies in India. Now let's take a look at the cache as always, and you'll see that you make almost 1 ducat. This is not good for you. If you do here, you'll see that some of your cache is on your fleet, and at the same time your fleet is controlled by, as you can see here, you have 4 heavy ships, 6 light ships and 10 transports. You won't need that much transports, at least early on. I recommend selling them. At the same time, you have the Maldives here, which you'll need 10. You'll need those 10, so first conquer the Maldives, then actually move on to the rest. But for this I recommend just mothballing this, selecting this, and just sending them to basically collect trade in Goa trade node. Collect trade in a Goa trade node. I mean, you know what to do. Let's not waste your time. At the same time, you have some forts here, 2 forts which I recommend killing. They do not provide you with any defensive positions, basically. And if you want to move your troops to a safe location, you can actually use your fleet and just move them to Jani, and this will safeguard them because of the crossing there. That's gonna help you safeguard your troops if you're in any trouble or you want to retreat to a safer location. As for trade, you are collecting in Goa. Try to send those ships there. You're pushing from Ceylon and you're pushing from Bengal. Not much more to say here. This is pretty standard. Later on, you'll move on to the Gulf of Aden. At the same time, you might want to move to Zanzibar as well, or to move to Alexandria, depending on the situation, and slowly moving to the Genoa trade node if you move to Alexandria. One option that you can do is take full control of the Zanzibar trade node, basically, and just collect with a merchant here, then fully push with your actual trade node, with your actual province for collecting, basically. I don't know how to call it, the trade port, basically, or whatever you want to call it, and move it to Genoa slowly, Alexandria, then Genoa and Aleppo, whatever floats your boat, but move slowly to Genoa. That's pretty much the standard stuff on the trade. As for this, there's not too much more to say here. Right now you have 6 ducats. If you move your troops up, you have 4 ducats, so you can afford at least 1 advisor on admin and perhaps 1 on military. Now, for the states, if you look at here, the Brahmanis have 18% control. You should remove some provinces from them later on, and whatever possible, so they'll lose their control. Simply it's too much, and because they're Hindu, they lose 5% as well. So you need to control only 5% and have triple that, almost 4 times the necessary amount. So try to remove some lands from them as well. As for this, I recommend doing a recruit a minister and go for the theologian here, and just seek support so you can get the money. First, wait for Latik to get the stability for minus 10%, then get the 100%. You can also do this. This is gonna get you to 82, and you'll get 150 points right now because of this. But remember that you will have to remove some of the lands that they control. Whatever floats your boat, I recommend just taking this province here of Rice Dilemma, they have the highest amount of military points, so you can actually feed them to the other states. As for the Merchants Guild, you can execute a minister or grant admiral. It's up to you how you want to pull it off. You need to have 30. So doing this is the best option right now. Remember that you're not gonna have the Master of Mint because of this. So if you actually remove some of the lands as well, because they have to control only 0%, so you can remove some of the lands as well, and you can actually do instead of you can do this as well, and just remove some lands later on. Perhaps remove Tanjore. That's the best option actually. Yeah, Tanjore, because it's a coastal trade node. So yeah, Tanjore is the best option there. But remember that this is gonna go at a rate of 2 points per month, so be careful and remove them as fast as possible. As for Nayakas, pretty much the same stuff here. They need to control 50%, so you cannot remove anything, but here you can integrate the minister or grant the generalship. It's up to you. You need to have 30, so the best option for you would be this. It's gonna get you to 79, but you don't have the +2 on Diplo. You'll have to take this guy later on. Right now you don't have the cash to pay for him anyway. So get this, then get a demand military support when it goes down to basically 60, because you need to have the maintenance modifier as much as possible, so you won't lose that much cash. As for the merchants, same stuff goes for here. Demand. This can be done quite fast simply because you don't need a development cost early on. And that's it for the estates. Let's go to our court. We have a 334 guy who has tech cost and torrent, which is quite great. He's 38. Our air is shit, so he should be made into a general as soon as possible. Hopefully he will die with a little bit of luck. Oh shit, that's a lucky stats. If this was on siege value. If only it was on siege value. At the same time, you have 667. Go for admin, pretty much standard. You won't need to go for any other tricky ideas unless you want to. I truly recommend just going for a deploy idea first, but we'll talk about this in the ideas. As for advisors, go for the National Risk Guide +2 here, or the inflation reduction if you have him. It's up to you, whoever you want. If you don't have the yearly inflation, go for the National Risk. If not, go for the yearly inflation guy. You might want to take out some of the cash, as well as, let's see how you're lucky enough. Where was that? Come on, don't tell me I can't find it. Yeah, I forgot where is it. Yeah, I have to go for the trade goods. There is some gold here, which you'll actually want to take, so you'll need the inflation reduction guy, as well as there's some gold here, so try to aim for these promises. I'm gonna talk about this later on, because they're in the expansion guide. As for this, I recommend taking a military guy as well. If you had a discipline +1 would be fine, but right now you just have the land force limit or the moral of armies. Go for the moral of armies guy. Here on Diplo, do not take anything, you need the cash, and you're basically you're floating right now, so you're fine with 1.52 dakis per month. That's pretty nice. You can also get the Diplo guy, although you'll need to have basically a barrier, simply because you're gonna push up, how should I call it? You're gonna waste your money on reinforcements in a first war, so you should remember this quite well, because you're gonna waste a decent amount of cash in the first war. Other than this, there's nothing much more to say here. This guy should die. Hopefully he'll die quite fast. You might also want to disinherit him and get a random heir if at all possible. You'll have a consort, so it's fine right now. You won't have the annoying regency. For the government, you're a kingdom. Nothing much more to say here. No modifiers. Pretty much standard stuff, manpower and income from vassals. For diplomacy here, and this is where it goes a little bit annoying. You have only one enemy, and you're gonna have that enemy for the start of the game, most likely. So Bakhman is gonna be your first target of attack. Second targets are the small guys here, Gujarat and Andraha. With Andraha you have an alliance. Check if you can declare, if you want to declare war on Bahmanis with the help of Andrada. If Andrada joins in the war, call them in and feed them provinces and then break the alliance and focus on these guys. Pretty nice stuff. If not, if they won't join you in a war against Bahmanis, just break the alliance and make them into your rival. As for allies, as the first, just focus on allies on the enemies of Bahmanis, and that is Gujarat and Malwa. Unfortunately, you want to attack Gujarat, so that's not possible, so your first option should be Malwa, and whomever wants lands from Bahmanis. Right, so Malwa wants lands from Bahmanis, and that's pretty much it. This guy's one lands from Bahmanis, we want lands from Bahmanis, and Gujarat wants lands from Bahmanis, but Gujarat is not possible because you want to attack them. So just alliance with Malwa, you should be able to beat them without getting more troops. If I look at Bahmanis right now, they have 14,000 troops while we have 15,000 troops with help from either Adraha or Malwa. Hopefully they're not gonna be able to get any alliances, perhaps with some of the enemies of Gujarat, but still, or the enemies of Malwa. But still, it's possible for you to join your armies with Malwa and Adraha and just kill off Bahmanis. As for other expansions and other enemies, like 3 guys available, take Bahmanis and Gujarat and Andrada if they do not want to attack Bahmanis. As for allies, just Malwa, or perhaps later on Gujarat, depending on situation. But ally the enemies of your enemies. That's pretty much the standard stuff in the EU4. As for anything else here, no. Talked about cash, trade. Let's talk about tech. You have embraced the feudalism, which means that you're not gonna have any tech penalty. My recommendation is go balls deep into admin, simply because you want to have the first idea really fast, and also, I mean, try to use the modifiers as much as possible, but try to go as much as possible into admin. And we're already making 10 points per month, so it's fine there. For diplomacy, save them from your first idea. As for military, try to save points with the modifier, unless you want to go to war or you feel threatened. And that is about it on military, pretty much standard stuff. As for the institutions, the Renaissance is gonna spread quite slowly into your lands. I mean, quite slowly. So you're gonna have problems there. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to suffer for it. You'll try to move as fast as possible into Europe. It all depends on your luck. Other than this, there's nothing much more here. Let's talk about ideas. The Vijayanagar ideas are infantry combat ability, possible advisor +1. Infantry combat ability is quite good. Possible advisor sucks. There's not much more to say here. You're most likely going to use the state's advisor, so the +1 is quite crap. Unless you want to do, you really need some modifiers, but that rarely happens that you need some specific modifiers for your country. You have the global trade power +10%, decently good, I'll say, although trade efficiency would have been better. You have the CAF compatibility, quite nice. You have the stability combat cost modifier, crap. You have the torrents of heathens and heretics. This is quite nice. This is gonna help you keep the lands under your control if you want to go for a conquest, but most likely you go for vassal feeding earlier on, so that's bad as well there. You have the early prestige, decent, I guess, not that great. You have the diplomats +1, then you have the discipline +5%. Sorry, diplomats is decent, especially when you have multiple vassals, and the discipline is excellent as well. You have developer mercenaries +50%. Good and bad. I would say the available mercenaries, there's nothing much more to say here. You'll most likely won't need them unless you're fighting war down your luck or you have a coalition, but a good player will never try to use mercenaries unless he has buckets of ducats. For your ideas, I recommend going for land conquest, that is influence followed by expansion. Pretty much standard stuff for Vijayanagar and any country that wants to do a land expansion. For influence and admins are the best options there, followed by either a military idea, religious ideas, or exploration ideas. I recommend going the religious ideas, followed by a military idea, followed by exploration. Exploration is going to be quite late, it depends on your luck. Another options here would be influence, followed by admin, followed by exploration, followed by religious. What this means that you can expand to some degree into this guys quite fast or into this guys quite fast with the exploration ideas. This will help you counteract the Europeans in the basically in this zone here, in the Cape of Good Hope zone, and perhaps stop the expansion into this lands here to stop the Europeans from moving here for a little bit. Basically, it's gonna be costly, but it's doable, and that means that you're gonna have all these regions for yourself until, of course, they go into this side and move from this side to this side. But yeah, this is quite doable from this side here and stopping the expansion. Although I do not know what to say if it's cost efficient or not, but it's doable and it's nice. But remember, you're not gonna be able to get like any of the new world. It's gonna be impossible for you to get any chunks of the new world anytime soon. At the same time, you can go for exploration ideas first and move into Diego Garcia from the Maldives and slowly move like this, and like this. It should be doable. I mean, it should be doable. Like, it's not hard to say. It should be doable if you have Maldives and slowly move into this and into this, and focus on your conquest on this guys here into Zanzibar and move on to the Cape of Good Hope and hopefully beat the Europeans to this side here and hopefully beat the Europeans to this side here as well, depending on your luck. But this is quite risky and should only be done if you feel the need to do this, or if you really want to expand that much into the new world, which is not recommended, to be honest. It's faster for you to expand like this and go to Czechoslovakia and slowly move into Europe like this through the hordes with those full CB when you have it, and that's actually the best option that you'll have. But yeah, that is for ideas. So influence, admin, religious, and the military idea. That's the recommended option. Secondary, it's influence, admin, exploration, religious, followed by a military idea, then perhaps expansion if you want to do it. And that's pretty much it for ideas. Some arguments can be added by going for a military idea as well first, then go for exploration ideas. But it's quite annoying, to be honest. If you want to go for exploration, just go first. There's no need for you to waste points on military simply because you do have a decent amount of land and you have one of the highest force limits in this region here, especially when you have this vessel here, so it's quite nice there. For missions and ideas, you can form Bahrat. Basically what this means that you'll switch to empire and basically get permanent claims on the regions of India here. Do not know the regions by heart, to be honest. If I go for the regions here, you'll see the Gambia, Hindustan, yeah, pretty much all of the regions here. So you get a permanent claim, so you can actually annex them quite fast. Although remember that you need quite a decent amount of lands for you to do this, and you need to have stability at 3. But yeah, once you have this, just do it as fast as possible. Try to not waste that much points on deep annexation, because you're gonna have the minus 25% cost from the permanent claims there. It's gonna be quite nice. Other than this, you have the standard of Hindu decisions here, pretty much nothing more. As for flavor events, you do have a decent amount of flavor events, mostly rely on with the British, with the what's called the interaction with the British and the Portuguese, but nothing much more there, to be honest. Nothing groundbreaking on events. And that is it. Other things here, basically stability and expansion, pretty standard stuff. Reduce for extraction if you feel the need to boost stability to 1. Make sure you have it at 1 almost all of the time. We have 15 states. Here you recommend going for the native repression policy and just killing the natives here, because you really need the increase in global citadels. As for religion here, you are Hindu. You have a decent amount of tolerance of the true faith and tolerance of heathens as well, which is quite nice. You can also select the deity, and you can have the It's called Defender of the Faith, basically. As for here, it depends on your basically way that you want to expand. For the early game, I recommend going for Shakti because of the siege ability and discipline. If you don't want to go for, and later on you might want to go for Ganesha for the deploy rep and the ventilation over time. Basically, when you feel that you have a decent amount of, high amount of aggressive expansion and you want to annex your vessels, just go for Ganesha. But you want to attack Shakti and want to integrate and stabilize your realm, just go for Ganesha. It is also possible for you to go with Shiva for the aggressive expansion impact and core creation cost. That is doable when you have formed that empire of Bahrat, and that will mean that you will have free claims and you want to expand really fast all over this region here. Other than this, there is nothing much more to say on religion. For military, you have a force limit of 20 and you have some troops for vassal as well of Jaffa, so that's fine as well. Try to build this up to 20 to have better attacks, better troops against Bagmanis. Recommended is, if you look at here, you see that you can actually be 50% as the Europeans, nothing much more there. I recommend going 14.6. That will give you a decent amount of power there with 14.6. Other than this, on military you have the naval force limit, which is 23. I recommend keeping the Carracks, but at the same time, after you have taken Maldives, sell five of your transports. Actually, if you can get a good cost on your transports, just sell them all, I would say, so you have the available force limit to build more ships. For the requirement of navies, I will say that you need about 10 heavies. I recommend just taking the decision from the states here, if it's doable, for the draft ships for war as soon as possible, so that you'll get the extra ships there, and that's gonna be golden, and you're gonna have the necessary Carracks, so you don't need to spend any cash to build Carracks, you just need to maintain them. With the rest, I recommend just building trade ships, and when you expand into this side here, just build the transports back up again. Like, just build the transports back up again, so you're gonna have the ability to move, whether you want to move here or you want to move here, or you want to move into this side as well. Any of that side works. For the extraction here, it's recommended that you have the dose full CB because you need the free CB to attack everybody and enslave them. Other than this, there's nothing much more to say on military. You remember that you have to make your heir into a general as well. And that is about all on military. Let's go to your subjects. You have the subject of Jaffa, which you'll want to feed lands from this side, from Ceylon, and this side here as well, with annex him. That's pretty much standard stuff here. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to feed more lands from this side as well, unless you want to feed them one province, which is not recommended. But yeah, that's what you have to do with the vessel of Jaffa there. Other than this, there's nothing much more to say here. This was the situation and tide of Vijayanagar. This was part 1 of the situation. Hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this, comment, like, and subscribe. And I really like feedback, so comment to your heart's desire. I'm Chevalier, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.